Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're so fancy now with your program.
Mm.
Good morning.
I can see your flowers. You arranged them beautifully in the back.
Nice.
The Gerber daisies, now that I know what Gerber daisies are. I actually like the Gerber daisies.
Me too.
And they come in, Michael the designer said they come in like every color. There are 5 different whites. He uses them for weddings all the time. The Gerber daisies.
They're a favorite. They're like a...
Are they a favorite, a fan favorite for everyone? I've never heard of them before.
No, but
like 6 months ago.
They're not super hardy.
So they last a week?
Kind of like
2 weeks?
They have weak necks.
Weak necks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you put straws on them.
Yeah, but I'm missing all my straws, and so
why are you missing your straws?
I had kept them. I've had them for years. My straws. I think I threw a couple of them out by accident.
I could have got some when I was at the flower shop.
I don't think he has them there. But what I do is I cut them down every 3 days, and so eventually their heads are actually hanging
on. Oh, you really care for your flowers now. You tend to.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Great.
We don't garden though.
You're not a gardener, but you're a flower. What's that?
I like cut flowers.
A flower caretaker.
Cut flowers are supposed to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that feels like way less pressure than a plant. Or a garden.
They have a lifespan. So
Exactly.
you would probably be good at working at a hospice. No. All right.
I just want to cry right now.
You don't have to keep anybody alive.
People are very different than flowers.
People are very different than flowers. Maybe, or we do have a lot in common though. What are you doing this afternoon?
People are going to die too, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know.
This morning I have homework to do, and then I have a workshop.
You homework?
A workshop.
What kind of homework do you got?
So I already did
sweeping, mopping, vacuuming.
No, not in this house. I think I'm going to assign that to someone else. It's your favorite thing,
buddy.
Remember that? Cleaning is my favorite.
I hear about it a lot.
I already did homework for I studied the Bible this morning with a group that I'm in, and then this afternoon I'm studying the Big Book, and so
the Big Book of A, right on it. Big BBA, the BBA work.
Awakening.
I'm in a little workshop too. You're in a live
studies
workshop.
The Big Book and takes statements from the Big Book and turns them into questions, and then we answer the questions.
So do you think this is for a beginner of the 12 steps, or is it for somebody that kind of has some experience, wants to do the process again in a more thorough way?
I would say it's for anybody who is
looking to do work,
willing to do hard work.
Yeah, because we're transcribing the Big Book, we're studying the Big Book, we're ripping it apart.
I think that, there's times where like I've done studies where I'm like, I don't really want homework. Like I just want to get together with these people every week and see them and talk. And then there's other times where
there's a place for that.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't get, like, you do not become a doctor that way. You do not become a lawyer that way.
Who are you?
Like our son is becoming an engineer. He works hard.
The other day he sat at this table
for hours.
12 hours.
I know. That was not a good idea. But he studies really hard. And I think that the Bible
it's funny to see him.
The Big Book are meant to be studied.
And to know him from high school.
I know.
Never
Something
studied.
happens when you turn 21 or 22 and you've worked.
Isn't that cool to see though? Like no one that tells him to study. Like we don't even know if he needs to study.
I think every kid should leave high school and work.
Yeah, go in the trade.
Get a paycheck, pay some taxes.
Go move bricks and mortar and drywall.
He just man, that worked for him. Mm-hmm. Maybe it wouldn't work for everybody.
Maybe not.
But I think that like there's just some things that are meant to be studied, because I think that our human brain like takes things and like runs with them without actually really studying and knowing like what is it that I'm actually like saying. And so it's been a really good process for me.
And I think that's the beautiful part of it. It's if people don't have understanding of what the 12 steps, it's actually the physical application of Jesus saying, pick up our cross and die and follow me. So it's like this study of how do I practically do that with my mind, will, and emotions.
Right. And neuroplasticity, the study of the brain and how the brain can regenerate, actually shows the same thing, that you actually have to like study. You have to focus, you have to study, you have to return. And so neuroscientists show that you can actually retrain your brain But it's a practice. We actually have to be involved in that practice.
Mhm.
It doesn't just happen.
I like that concept. We return. And in Proverbs, it says like a dog to its vomit. We're not returning to our vomit. We're returning to the will of God. And so as we return. That's good.
I lived a life of like anxiety, and I just like returned to it. I would have told you I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I wasn't doing anything to not do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Without a plan, the plan is to fail. Yeah, if anybody wants more information or wants to do a workshop with us, we also have LifeLab. That's a good place to start. And then the BBA is a good place to continue the process. Yeah, here we go. All right, morning devos, December the 5th, difficult people.
Saturday, December the 5th,
we have 20 more shopping days. Or do we have 19 more shopping days?
I don't care how many shopping days. I don't even know how much more shopping I'm going to do. I don't even know if I'm going to do shopping. I just don't even know if
I don't think my dad watches this, but they don't want stuff. They don't need anything. And I'm a stuff buyer because I love
to give gifts.
Working stuff like tools and that kind of thing. So my mom was like, if you do that. So my dad wants jam. And I'm like, jam?
That's exciting for me. I already have started a little collection.
But do you know how the Rubies eat jam? I get ridiculed for my butter and jamming. And so butter is a topping. Toast is the
carrier of the jam.
The vehicle of the jam.
It's like a spoon.
In the Ruby household, in the Ruby family, the tradition, it's like butter goes on in a very thick layer and then jam is running over. And
you're running.
So I need a bucket of.
No. We're going to get him a good jam.
Good jam. If anybody knows any jammers.
This one is called difficult people. I feel like I'm a difficult person.
My hands are sweaty.
Are your hands sweaty? Do you feel like you're a difficult person? Really? I'm just asking. I feel like I'm a difficult person. I would say I am not.
You just treated me like somebody that actually swears, and then you ask me, do you swear a lot? And I say, no. And you just went.
So what would be like, so there's like easy people, like easy, chill, go with the flow, chill. What would be like difficult?
Bossy? No, I think ungrateful people. Ooh, I feel that people that are full of self and self-pity and talking about all of their stuff with no... Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. All right. I was just asking. That's not... No. And so I wouldn't say that you're a difficult people. That's not... I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say you're a difficult people. I think I'm a difficult people. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Read. I'm just saying I might cry. That's all. I just might cry. That's all I'm saying.
My hands are sweaty.
All right. Well,
here we go.
So I thought I would tell you in advance because now we never used to look at the title before we started reading, and now we do. And so now you put it in the caption, and then I get anxious.
Okay. I'm like, here we go. All right. Let's just read about the title of Difficult People. Few things can make us feel crazier than expecting something from someone who has nothing to give. Few things can frustrate us more than trying to make a person someone he or she isn't. We feel crazy when we try to pretend that that person is someone he or she is not. We may have spent years negotiating with reality concerning particular people from our past and our present. We may have spent years trying to get someone to love us in a certain way when that person cannot or will not. It is time to let it go. It is time to let go of him or let go of her. That doesn't mean we can't love that person anymore. It means that we will feel the immense relief that comes when we stop denying reality and begin accepting. We release that person to be who he or she actually is. We stop trying to make that person be someone he or she is not. We deal with our feelings and walk away from the destructive system. We learn to live and care differently in a way that takes reality into account. We enter a relationship with that person on new terms, taking ourselves and our needs into account. If a person is addicted to alcohol or drugs, misery, or other people, we let go of his or her addiction. We take our hands off of it. We give his or her life back. And we, in the process, are given our life and freedom in return. We stop letting what we are not getting from that person. We stop letting what we are not getting from that person control us. We take responsibility for our life. We go ahead with the process of loving and taking care of ourselves. We decide how we want to interact with that person, taking reality and our own best interests into account. We get angry, we feel hurt, but we land in a place of forgiveness. We set them free and we become set free from bondage. This is the heart of detaching and love. Prayer for today. Today, I will work at detaching in love from troublesome people in my life. I will strive to accept reality in my relationships. I will give myself permission to take care of myself in my relationships with emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual freedom for both people as my goal. Amen. Whew. That's a good one.
I have a really hard time with labeling people as troublesome people and difficult people. I have a really, really hard time with that. I don't do that in my, I don't think I do that in my life.
I would say that what we're talking about is people that are consumers, and those people are worried about their needs and their motives to being filled. So then in difficult relationships, they're not giving back. They're always taking.
Mm-hmm.
And so even having arguments, and like if somebody's taking space in my head all the time and I'm thinking about like, oh, they're going to come over and I have to meet with, and like they said this and this and this, and it's like it's taking up space in my head. That's somebody that I would say that is a consumer. And so how do I, because if I have a relationship with people like that, then I'm not actually, it's not a back and forth. It's a consumer relationship. And so I think it's a beautiful thing how she's saying, like, don't put expectations on people that are where they are. Don't put expectations on receiving nourishment and love from that person and energy and joy out of that relationship, but detach in love. So I think that's great. And setting them free and me free.
Right.
Us free.
There was a line that she said, we may have spent years negotiating with reality concerning particular people. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh, that's a very interesting language, because yes, that makes sense to me. So I think, I think the a real difficult thing for someone like me who loved someone who was, like, at the time incapable of following through and incapable of loving, like you said, as a consumer. So you were a consumer and I cared a lot about you, and I spent a lot of time negotiating with reality.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness, like that really stands out. And so the difficult thing for me to sift through is like how I really still believe that even in that state, you still have worth as a person. You're still valuable. It's just that it wasn't my responsibility to save you or to help you. Like, I wasn't actually capable of doing anything, doing more, getting you to a place of recognizing your own value and recognizing your own worth and getting you to that place of wanting help. And so I spent most of my energy in my days trying to figure out what I would do next, or just, being at wit's end. And I was negotiating with reality. I remember when I started, because you were a binger. And so I've told you this already, but a binger, it was easy to like dismiss like how often something was happening in my head. Like, and so I would negotiate with reality, like, oh, he hasn't been that bad. And then I started putting like X's on the calendar when you didn't come home. And then I realized, oh, like, no, he hasn't even been sober for a week. Like, he's gone again.
Mm.
And typically I would just like, because we had 3 great days in between, it would feel like, oh, we've had lots of great weeks. And so back into denial I would go.
I think, yeah, and you're describing the really addicted relationship of substance abuse, and it's an extreme. But I also look at the other end of relationships, even in the recovery life, because there's a lot of people that are takers in our lives, and so I don't think it has to be the extreme. I think this is talking about as a whole. So I think it's beautiful that you point out and give an example of the extreme, but I think there's more everyday examples of people in our lives that we want intimacy from, that we're expected to.
More importantly, am I being a taker, or am I giving? Am I living to give to this world, or am I living to take from this world? And I think this year I've really haven't lived to give to this world in a large scale. Maybe on small scales, like I can justify it all the time, but as an overall way of being, I think that I think I've retreated quite a bit, and sometimes I feel like I collapsed into, and I have to go back to God all the time and say, like, am I doing this in a healthy way? Like, am I supposed to be resting like this? Is there more that I should be doing for other people? Because I feel like I'm just taking. I feel like I'm just.
It's okay if it's taking in a recovery sense, but like taking people's peace and serenity, and like causing them to be tolerant and loving, and it's like
taking
that's what they're talking. Yeah, like, because if I'm just talking about serenity. Me all the time, if I'm just causing issues and pointing out your flaws, and it's like, that's draining. All right, let's pray to be healthy, undifficult people through a process of dying of self and being reborn in light and salt. Amen. All right, have a great Saturday.
You know what I love?
It's like a rain day.
I have a couple people who will message me. And so I actually would love if you watch this, feel free to message me if you want to. You know who you are. They message me to talk about stuff that we've talked about, and I love that. So
all right,
feel free.
Hockey sticks in hands. Do it. Be safe.